Hello. This is the like 15, right? This is the 15th video about keep practicing English. So today topic is one of the topic we gonna focus at is like mm, uh, one of the topic we focusing at. Actually, I want to know this area of knowledge in relative relative to psychology of the brain. One of the topic in the previous week we had uh, to be found out with so many parts of the brain, but this topic is quite different. It's about the neurons, the brain neurons connection affects to our like thinking logically and communicating. So uh, let's we have some research, yeah, and how communicating can affect you, our brain on low key. Oh my god. Like this topic I searched is how communication affects you your brains on low key. Yeah, this is a page for uh, human communication in the brain. So it's quite long to understanding, but we gonna find some pages that actually easy to understand, right? Today we will look at the first web pages. Oh, this not ideatet.com. No, it's too hard to understand, right? Oh my god. So why is it so complex topic with so long information about this, and we should rather to consider in some like shorter respond respond like speed speed. Okay. Um, we consider a page called How Communication and Brain of the Kids Run Tire C.ort. Uh, it's with the topic is using computer game to investigate communication and a lot of parts, like how the brain actually working. So let's figure out. Each person on the street asks you for direction to move theater. A person A is one short story from the beginning of the website, the pages, the website. If one person asks you for the direction to movie theater, and the person A of the person I instead of car is just one of the multiple contextual elements that will influence your reply. You may decide as you may decide to speak more clearly, use simple words, or give directions specifically on how to get there by bike. Yes, this bike is with quick flexibility, flexibly adjust our flexibly adjust our communication according to the person we are communicating with. It remains a mystery how we manage rapidly do that. A new studies show that a certain part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex uh, is particularly important for fine-tuning communication, depending on the person we are communicating with. And patient with damage to prefrontal cortex is still able to communicate, unlike healthy individual and patient with brain damage elsewhere. However, prefrontal patients fail to adjust their communication to ability of the person with whom they are communicating. So, um, PA were a railroad construction worker. Oh my gosh. Uh, so no, it's quite yeah. It's a long story. I will keep it short for you. Like a railroad construction worker, uh, a explosion in an inching iron rod completely through his forehead. Like oh my god. Using communicator game to investigate communication. How can we investigate whether prefrontal cortex? Okay, so that okay, it's quite long, but okay, we want to figure out the story to understand the scenario and like mm, the context. Uh, it's an explosion propel as explosion explosion propel an inch iron rod completely through his forehead. As it illustrated in Figure 1, you might think that this accident would leave him serious injured or even worse. There are holding iron rods that penetrated his forehead. Yeah, they're holding the iron rod, holding the iron rods like iron rod, like yeah, an iron rod. It's like a tree. What do I call? It's an iron rod, like um, an iron rod. Yeah, an iron rod like uh, you know, ngô không? You an iron rod. Yeah, you a rod. But this is the iron rod that's a penetrated his forehead. Yeah, penetrated his forehead. Penetrated his, that mean like it's like through like an iron rod pin through his head, his forehead. So uh, uh, everyone think this accident would leave him seriously, uh, even injured or even dead. But no, despite destroying parts, Phoenicius destroys parts. Uh, I got uh, even destroying. Uh, Even he can that, but no, despite destroying parts of the front his brain, this terrible event had very little effect on him. Surprisingly, uh, he regained full consciousness immediately after the accident. You know, when he has the uh, iron rod that penetrated through his forehead, but he However, when he wake up, like his wake up, he regained he regained a full consciousness immediately after accident. Yeah, and despite having gaping hole in forehead, he was still able to work and talk. Yeah, you know, when an iron rod penetrates in your head through your brain and his through your forehead, he still work and talk and continue to live almost 12 more years. Could this surprising observation mean that the prefrontal cortex, the brain area right above our eye, is simply not important for daily functioning? Uh, or the prefrontal cortex has other function that we still don't understand? Unfortunately, there is a lot of evidence to give us clue about where clue clue lies. Uh, Sorry, yeah, who mean assign a mark, investigate, practice, like a practice, yeah, it's cool like a practice, like a policeman need to have a clue or practice to identify the uh, crime. You know that. You know what clue mean? Clue or practice mean? Yeah, and it means dấu vết. Yeah, and about whether the accident trained uh, his behavior, and we know that for unknown reason, the company refused to rehire him after the accident. And furthermore, the few stories that do exist about his behavior after the accident suggested his personality and attitude towards others changed in some way. With friends saying that he no longer gay, he no longer himself. And neuroscience continue to teach us new things about the role of prefrontal cortex and in our everyday life. Ask yourself, would you tell a complete stranger the same personal thing you tell your family and friends, such as judgment, treasure, memory, such as a treasure memory like significant important memory, a treasure memory like valuable memory, yeah, valuable and important memory. And scientists found that the patient with serious injury to prefrontal cortex did tell stranger the personal thing, and even though they feel impressed about it afterward. But why did then the patient take into account that they were talking to a stranger? Could be that the prefrontal cortex is necessary for adjusting our communication based on the person we are communicating with. So how can we investigate whether the frontal cortex is necessary for adjusting our communication and how we talk to others and type of thing we tell them, depending on the person we are communicating with? One way to find answer is to actually measure the way people are judging their communication when they communicate with different kind of people, and then to see whether people with like rental brain damage or not. Uh, so uh, in order to measure changes in communication, and the researcher designed a computer game in which participants use a bird talking to communicating with another person through a computer screen, without being able to actually see or talk to that partner. This online form communication has shown disadvantage for experiment. First, the movement of the birds on the computer screen allow accurate measurement of each participant communication behavior. That's give them a way to determine whether those behavior adjusts depend on whom the participant communicating with. And the second, the fact that the participant cannot see or hear their partner lets us tell the participant that they will take turn playing with two different partners uh, while they are actually only one. That's why we can make sure that the two partner behavior in same way, allowing us to be certain that any differences we as they see in the way participants communicating come only from difference in whom they believe they are communicating with. And a lot of there are a lot of things from experimental. We see to the conclusion is that uh, their prediction will correct. The individual with prefrontal brain damage no longer adjust their communication according to person they communicating with. Interestingly, damage to the prefrontal region does not add on impair the ability to or motivate to communicate. And people used to think prevent and prefrontal patients still communicating good. Um, and they actually also spend a longer time uh, hovering over the important circle of the game board. However, it is so whether they thought were communicating with another child on another with control group. Uh, they is whether thought they are communicating with another child, others why control group fight turn their communication depending on whether they thought they were communicating with child or others. The research tells us that the prefrontal cortex is not necessary of communication itself. As we can show a case of the railroad worker uh, in fire in the first story. Uh, yeah, and the same time, the results explains why individual with prefrontal brain damage um, may show societally awkward behavior, society awkward behavior in everyday life, so that telling a stranger type of personal information you would normally only share with family or friends. So the next time you're communicating with someone, and remember that you are using prefrontal cortex, the brain region right above your eye here, to adjust your communication to that person. So let's sum up is that the prefrontal cortex is a part that control it's not effect to our communication. It's not like necessary for communication itself, but it's a uh, it is adjust the communication. But it is damage socially adverse behavior. Adverse behavior in everyday life, such as telling stranger the type of person information you would normally share with friends and family. So, so to sum up here, the prefrontal cortex is the part that actually is not affected or determine the communication itself, but it's one of the factor that's affects or adjusting communication. Like it can create some situation that's more socially awkward to socially adverse behavior in everyday life, and so okay. So what is the frontal, like our prefrontal cortex? How to improve it? How to improve prefrontal cortex? Yeah, you want to know, right? Like how to improve prefrontal cortex. How to strengthen. Strengthen. Yeah, uh, like and yeah, a lot of web printing here. So we sorry, it's quite hot in here. So and so we can looking at pages, yeah, a master class pages in the more just pages I found, and it tells us the prefrontal cortex. Uh, we have first, so we can retouch to more understand, in deeply understand, to understand to deeper about the prefrontal cortex in the front section of human brain. And it's in the process that in front of our eye. Yeah, and according to for more than 20% of entire cerebral cortex, the prefrontal cortex is situated in the frontal lobe. And yeah, it's situated in the frontal lobe. It means that it's right here. You know that, and uh, and tightly connected to limbic system. We also know limbic system and an area located in both sides of the thalamus and include amygdala, hippocampus, hypothalamus, and the PFC is generally cognition, responsible for cognition, including information modulation, attentional focus, and decision making, emotional analysis and response, problem solving, working memories, and release neurotransmitter like dopamine or and serotonin. And advancement in neuroscience and neuroimaging study focus on PFC activation has shown us damage impairment, lesion, or a development of the prefrontal cortex essential feature of some mental health. Okay, and the damage or impairment, lesion, underdevelopment of prefrontal cortex is essential feature of some mental health dysfunction like bio disorder, attention deficits, and hyperactivity disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, it's affect to our anxiety. Okay, so what are the parts of prefrontal cortex? So there are a few different brain region that comprise like consist like include that's comprise the prefrontal cortex. Some standard subdeviation of the prefrontal cortex in the memory in the brain include five parts. Yeah, you know that. And so, how to strengthen our prefrontal cortex? And is it possible to improve our prefrontal cortex with some exercise that targets specific function of our brain, such as game, word game, memory game, and puzzle, and effective way to strengthen our prefrontal cortex. The exercise can encourage neuroplasticity, which is our brain ability to create and reinforce the essential interconnection. Learning something new like languages, adjustment, or other skill is even more effective than word game and enhancing your prefrontal cortex. Learning push our brain out of its comfort zone and force it adapt, understand, and piece together in new information. Cooking is an activity that utilizes multiple areas of our brain, including various sense, cooking requirement, hand-eye coordination, concentration, multitasking, planning, and working memory to execute a recipe correctly. We can help strengthen this skill over time. Math problem solving with brain difficult help brain. Okay, by the way, is he actually focus on like game, like learning something new, skill, new languages, adjustment, cooking, and problem solving like math. So, despite this video quite long here, but I still not what I wanted to yet because sorry. So because I am actually looking at how communication affects like our brain, like response speed. I want to know this. Yeah. So it's hard to find topic in here. So we're gonna use one of AI tool like ChatGPT to generate some keywords for us to on. so clear when I find some keywords to understand. So actually this video quite too long here, and maybe I would to stop this video, and I gotta figure out in some short video through YouTube. But it's quite good when we know that prefrontal cortex is one of the main parts effective our communication. It's not like a decision on our communication itself, but it's a part that determining the way we communication to create in the contact that not socially not socially not socially awkward behavior. Yeah, and so communication has an important role in our daily life. So okay, goodbye.